Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. Thank you to Senator Blumenthal, also to Senator Blunt for holding this hearing, and appreciate all of you being here. The country is producing a lot more energy thanks in a very large part to states like North Dakota. Very positive for the country in terms of not only job creation, economic growth, but having affordable energy and from a national security standpoint. But we need the infrastructure to move that energy from where we produce it to the markets. That means pipelines, but that also means moving it as safely as possible by rail and by truck. And that's what today is all about. We need to do this safely, and we need a comprehensive approach that both prevents derailments, and if a derailment occurs, that we minimize the risk of fire or explosion. That means that everybody's got a role to play here: the regulators, the railroads, and the shippers. Obviously, the oil companies own most of the cars. And so, you know, people have got to work together to get this done. And so I'm going to have questions for each of you, which I'm obviously not going to get done in this session, but hopefully I'll have a follow-up opportunity. And, you know, I want to start with inspections. And I'd like to ask Administrator Szabo, have you increased inspections? I know the answer to that is yes, but give us some sense of what you're doing. And also, do you need more inspectors to meet the demands of the increased volume?
Well, as I stated in my testimony, our inspection and enforcement program is data-driven, and so we actually use statistical modeling to analyze that data and determine, you know, our national inspection plan. And it's based on where there is risk. One of the reasons why I believe the agreement with AAR is so important is because it helps us determine the most safe and secure route to be used for the movement of this product using the 27 risk factors, and that also gets run through a computer analysis to determine the most safe and secure route. But then we mandate of the industry additional equipment and track inspections along those routes, as well as it allows me to better focus limited resources on those routes. Certainly, the 45 additional employees that we received as part of the 2014 budget package are going to help us tremendously. But, you know, the truth of the matter is there can be an endless demand for resources. I have a responsibility to make sure that I am as smart and strategic as possible with the limited resources that you choose to provide me.
But at this point, you are making provision for additional inspectors, and we certainly want to work with you through the appropriation process to see that, that you're able to do that in a sensible way, in a cost-effective, sensible way. But we need to make sure we're doing more inspections.
And Senator, if I could add one more point, that's an important piece of that. You know, we do have the state inspection partnership, and there are 30 states across the nation that choose to hire their own inspectors. We train them. We absorb the cost of training them and certifying them, but then states are able to use these inspectors to supplement our inspection efforts in their own states and raise the bar that much higher.
Mr. Blackwell, how are we going to, or how are the railroads going to implement positive train control, which is part of the safety solution, if they can't get the towers sited on their own right-of-ways? Does that require legislation? I mean, is FTC going to just hold them up forever? Or does it require legislation? Or what do we have to do to get positive train control out there?
Pardon me, Senator. We believe the program comment strikes the appropriate balance between front-loading the type of information that's usually requested and readily available, and with PTC's goals and deadlines. And in doing so, we've prescribed much shorter deadlines than our already streamlined processes. We don't expect that all the applications will take the maximum time allowed, but we've accelerated procedures and reduced the overall review process by 40%. Specifically, this includes shortened timeframes for initial responses and situations lacking responses, and we've also established a new deadline for our FCC review of resolutions and disputes. We've narrowed the program comment limits the scope of review to a smaller area of potential effect, from 1/2 mile to 1/4 mile, and it also allows for exclusions of wayside structures similar to nearby existing structures in the right-of-way, for wayside structures located within rail yards of at least 1,000 square feet, and from effects on the rails and the track beds themselves. The program comment, like the NHPA and our rules, also set standards for requesting additional information requiring tribal nations and state historic preservation.
Mr. Blackwell, I'm over my time. We'll come back to this, but my question very specifically is going to be either you're going to commit to work with the railroads to get this done, or it's going to require legislation. But I am over my time, and we can certainly come back to that.
Thank you, Senator Hoeven. Welcome.